Not the best, but fun. Hello, hi, and hello, and hi. I am going to talk today about one of my favourite albums from this year. Are you enjoying your Christmas, by the way? Good. Or not good? That's a shame. Wonderful. Glad to hear it. Sad to hear it. But what I'm not sad to hear is the album I'm going to listen to today, which is one of these good old ones from the year, one of my favourites, maybe my favourite, and I haven't been able to talk about it really very much. I have done one track from it so far, and that is this Jim Ghedi album, Wasteland, and I have done the track Sheaf and Feld in one particular video, the name of which is something like some songs I've enjoyed, some albums I've enjoyed from the year, something like that. I did it about middle of the year sometime, and yeah, I think it's really good. Let's have a look at more of it. Let's see what features it really holds to. Quite an unusual beginning straight away. Sorry if there's some audio issue, that didn't sound great on my end, but yeah, bow, really low note to begin with. It's a low C, and it's on a guitar. Whether this is a baritone guitar or not is a good question. I don't know. It might be everything is tuned down to C. It might be in an open tuning, to be honest. What other notes have we got going on there? We've got this very soft melody, haven't we? Soft falsetto, quite breathy tone, very clean, so it's not like my tone, but smooth and quiet, and it's echoed in the guitar, so we get something like that. So the guitar and the vocals are both doing the same line, but then you've got extra notes in the guitar too, and the guitar is sounding very sort of clattery, which suggests that this low note is actually lower than it should be, because as you get lower you get more of that plump string sound. That's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, great. Lovely low C, C major. But otherwise pretty sparse. There's a bit of a reverb, but yeah, we've also come to a quite a quick standstill here, haven't we? Very different voice for the next phrase. Do 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 do. Nowhere near as high. And slightly more aggressive, I would say. It's this lower voice, no longer falsetto, more of a modal voice, with a little bit more of a shake to it as well, a little bit more of a vibrato. And again, the phrase is more or less echoed by the guitar. Let's hear it one more time. Yeah. So we get a few extra notes on the guitar. Something like that. Yeah, so I think we're probably looking at an open C tuning. Probably a C there. which is lovely. You just need to put on one finger to get a whole extra chord. Open tunings are wonderful that way, but it's not being used for that feature. It's used for the resonance of the strings together. If all the strings are tuned sympathetically to each other like this, so they're all tuned in that C major chord, that means that you're going to get from open strings, you're going to get sympathetic resonances that mean that the whole thing sounds a lot more locked in and grand, because all the strings are resonating. Even if they're just doing it quietly, it means that you can have resonances go on even when you've stopped that main string. You know, it's cool. It's cool. We like sympathetic resonances here.
Deep fire was burning all around this world.
So interesting there. We sort of had the same two phrases, but slightly edited. Instead of coming to rest on that note, we go straight into the second phrase, and then as we get to that note, we change chord. Yeah, to this what's the flat 6 of the key. Oh yeah, I guess we're not in C major, are we? We're very much in C minor. So the flat 6 is very much in key. Yeah, really strong sort of positive relationship between the flat 6 and the C. The flat 6 here then is the A flat. They share two notes each. The C and the E flat are in both chords, and the only difference is we have a G in the C chord, that one there, and in the A flat chord, that's there. So if we change all the A flats, it would be that. Not a very comfortable voicing there. So there's a voicing. Yeah. Doubt that's the one he's using. It's probably something more like that. Yeah. But there we are. Anyway, we're getting these two strong chords, which are very similar to each other, but they have very different feelings. Even higher melody then in this next bit, and we're getting a slightly more constant rhythm through this. We're getting this kind of boom, ba, da, boom, ba. This kind of thing going on, while there's that melody on the top. Even softer falsetto here. Da, da, gosh. Da, 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 da. Okay, so same kind of range as the first one, but now in that lower voice. So we're getting this constant switching between the falsetto at the top and the beltier kind of voice, which really reminds me of Sam Fender, but in a way where I am not bored by the music, which is the thing I enjoy. Anyway, we've kind of got 3 phrases there, and they've all gone sort of A, B, A, B, A, B, with the softer, slower phrase at the beginning, and then a slightly faster one at the end there. Yeah, and on those low notes, we're not just getting ba, straight note, we're getting ba, ba. Can you hear that? And that's from the note starting higher, being played really hard, so that it starts bow and then comes down. And then that was similar to the other one. Do, 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 do. Right? So again, two different voices playing around there, but they're both by the same person, and probably he's playing the guitar as well. And it's nice that the guitar, we have a sort of relationship of playing chord and melody, and then at faster melodic points just goes to the melody. And I guess at those points we don't necessarily need the rhythm in the background as well. So if this is going like this normally, you could keep it going. You know, it's not impossible to do something with that melody kind of line and play a bass accompanying thing at the same time. But what's quite nice about it is that we get this switch, and it sort of diverts all of our focus back onto the melody. So we have the softer side where the melody feels slightly less important maybe, and then when the louder side comes in, it's like, oh, focus on this. So we got 4 phrases there, all doing kind of the same thing. The last 2 very similar to each other, the first 2 very similar to each other, and all of them with this soft and loud approach, sometimes with more active guitar underneath them, and sometimes with very expansive guitar underneath them, but always the guitar doing the same melody as the vocals as well. But always just those 2 instruments, so really not playing much with sort of texture here. More, well, I guess the texture play is on a subtler level. It's to do with what the guitar is doing and how the guitar is playing, which is a nice thing. Okay, and then for this next part we've got the addition of drums. Have we got the addition of anything else? There's this kind of that comes in from the other section as we change chord as well. There was an extra chord in that beginning there, which after the flat 6, it goes down to the 4, the minor 4. So it's this major chord, this minor chord, and then this minor chord. Okay, so if you like A flat major, F minor, C minor. Gosh, yeah, this open voicing is messing me up. Yeah, so we've added this kind of kind of sound as we're moving towards a more major area, I would say. This flat 7 chord, so if we've got the C, which I really want to play in a more standard way, then we're going to boo. Yeah, so we're going to more of this kind of chord, this flat 7 chord. That's leading in with the major 3rd of that chord in this extra melodic figure. So that's nice. The drums have come in. Also, we haven't talked much about the rhythm here, but we've clearly got quite a swung rhythm. Ba da 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 da, which is not the most common thing to get in let's say folk influenced music like this, but it does occur. It's more common in sort of dancey music from older days, when it's really more of a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, but sometimes we do just miss that second one. Swing time obviously more associated with jazz and dance music associated with jazz from the 20th century, but it does occur before that, and yeah, this is kind of an example of that. Even though this is new, it really doesn't feel like new music in a lot of ways. So that melody, that's played, I think, in octaves. Although that would be pretty low, wouldn't it? It sounds like it's a fiddle. It sounds like a violin. So you get this much more extended, reliable note than with the plinky plonky guitar that we've got. So it feels more connected to the main vocal in a lot of ways, and they're sharing a lot of notes as well. Not all of them, but they're working very closely together. We've got a more static melody overall in the main vocal as well, so it feels a lot less confrontational, this section. I think it's more comfortable. What's slightly still confrontational about it is the rhythm of the vocal, because we're not just getting la 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 la, anything like that. We're getting da 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 da. So we're getting these flurries of movement at the end or between important words, and while we're on those important words, we've pretty much got a static note on them. So it's really like a charismatic speaker giving you not just the speech rhythm you would expect, but something a little bit more William Shatner, where we have a little bit of flurry and then a longer pause on some of the word. This kind of thing. It's very dramatic. I don't know if it's the most I don't think it's the most engaging way to do things, but I do find it quite effective in this context. So that pull up there, where everything stops, feels really crisp. We've had this quite lax relationship between all the instruments up till that point. They've been doing their own things, and then suddenly stop. They all stop exactly at the right time. Yeah, and we get quite a few as well. So they're all stopping at those individual moments, and really the only thing that goes through, does the vocal go through? Let's hear it one more time. Here we go. Yeah, so just for that second one, we come da will not be shut. So the vocal phrase continues on past the stop from everyone else. Will not be shut. Oh, will not be shut. That's the idea. Bam, bam. Will not be shut. Yeah, which adds a huge amount of clarity and focus onto that individual one word operating in the silence. Really interesting thing to do, because a more standard thing would be to just stop everything together. Will not be shut, will not be shut, and then they'd be coming together. But it's will not be shut. So you leave that space open for that word. Cool idea, cool idea. It sounds like the guitar is going to take the main focus in this next section. What have we had so far structurally? I would say we've basically had a verse with those first four phrases in, and we've had a chorus. That's what it seems to me. Carrying on. Yeah. Oh, yep. So just walking down the... something like that, not quite that. But something pentatonic, No, sorry, something minor. Let's work it slightly more out than that. Yeah. Diddle-oo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Da-doo-doo-doo. Is that it? Diddle-oo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. I probably haven't got the shape of this exactly right. Maybe this is not a G in the middle. This could be an E flat, I suppose. Probably not an E flat. If that's, I don't know. Doesn't really matter what the strings are meant to be, but that's our main melody. After yeah, something higher than that. So again, we've got this higher like the first verse. The next phrase, something much lower and more moving, more, you know, with more movement in it. What's nice is that we've also got that up the octave played in the violin, but in pits as well. That kind of thing. And we also got, I think, probably a bass. It could be the guitar, I suppose, going. Yeah, maybe it's the guitar actually, because it's not doing it in a particularly focused area. The drums are still here as well, but they're really minimal. Got two different violin tracks actually. One is over in the right headphone doing the melody, and the other is sort of doing pizzicato chords, which is a really interesting timbre. Yeah, it might just be two notes, so it might just be those, but it almost feels like a palm muted guitar, but it has this brightness to it that is all the violin. So yeah, nice unusual feature that. Really in the drums, all we're getting is maybe kick drum, maybe floor tom, but really just this low boom, boom noise on those main two beats. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, and there again is the second part of the melody from the verse, but this time in the violin only, I think. Anyway, we'll have another listen to it, and it's bowed as opposed to pits this time. Yeah, how long is that? That seems like an unusual amount of beats. It feels like we're sort of settling into a sort of set of threes. Bum, bum, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, diddle, 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 diddle. So that would be 3, and then 1, 2, do, dum, do, dum, do, another 3. So 6 overall. But how long is this phrase? There's our 3, 2, 3, and 1. And 2 and 3 up. Well, I think we've got an extra long bar there, because we go 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and then back into threes after that. Yeah, so we have one bar of 4 in there. Duh. Yeah, so just an extra long bar before we get to the A flat chord, which is cool. What's it for? I don't know. It's not standard, but also it doesn't feel very off, does it? A lot of old folk tunes don't follow a conventional. In fact, a lot of old tunes, like across the world, don't follow a conventional metrical style. So, you know, keeping everything in threes might make sense for a particular dance, a particular waltz, but if you're just trying to get in all the right words, or you're just trying to make a particular melody that sounds good, it doesn't have to follow those things. Had a bit of a mixture of tones there in the voice. It started in falsetto and slowly brought in the other half, which was really nice, a nice change. He has a very, I think, a really emotionally strong voice. It's very dark, so it might not be to everyone's tastes, but I really like his voice. It's got a lot of heft, and that was the same melody that we got in the first part of the verse, wasn't it? So here we've had a repetition of the first part of the verse, and then another version of the first part of the verse. So in the second verse, if you like. Again, there's that extra beat. It wasn't so clear in the first time because we had this more open space, didn't we? But there, we've got that extra beat in there. It's really fun. It's a really fun thing to have. Got a little more percussion in there. Just a little sprinkling of hi-hats, I think. Yeah, same as the second part of the verse then. Maybe this is more of a pre-chorus. I don't really think so, because it has much more in common with the verse. So I'd see it as more of the verse. There's our high part. There's our lower part. Yeah, they're very similar. Each of these parts, not exactly the same, but that's part of the beautiful subtlety, I guess. Wee! Even more so than that, but a very quick quiver in the voice on that particular note. Yeah. Okay, and as we get out of this section, we have these swirling fifths from the violins up in this new area. We haven't been up here very much. Have a little bit of melody up there, but really very little. So it's adding a new sort of brightness to the texture and filling out the atmosphere in a really nice way. Yeah, and we've got maybe another line from the violin there. It's not just this doo-doo, but it is so in lovely sixths together. So again, operating in a higher frequency area than the rest of the things going on. We've also, we've got ride cymbal above all that. So the ride cymbal comes in from the drums and really fills the place in a different way to everything else. It feels so much more expansive here, and less, I don't know, I think this artwork is fantastic. Yeah, just really unique and evocative, but I imagine the sort of going over the mountain behind him and just finding this vast valley is what this sound is. Another thing that might not be to everyone's taste is the way that the vowels are cut off a little bit. So I don't actually know what he says, but it sounds like a squiggle, and it's squiggle, it's not squiggle. So, you know, very folksy style of pronunciation there, going straight to the second half of the diphthong. It's not it's okay, and dark as well rather than dark. Okay, so not elongating those first halves, but the second half, which is more of a folk style thing. I really like it. So there, same thing as happened in the previous chorus, but we had a little bit of violin carrying over the bar as well, doing a sort of trill on these two notes. Will not be shut. Even in the emptiness, when the vocals have shut up, we get that. So not quite the emptiness that we got before, but still a very stark difference from everything being played. Yeah, yeah. So you can really do some fun things with harmonics on violins, and I can't quite explain what is happening there, and I don't have a violin to show you, but we kind of get this shower as the violin, I think, slides down with one finger while keeping on a maybe a lighter thing around the bridge, playing around the bridge. I think it's probably what's going on. So it's playing around the bridge, so we get a much more harmonically dense sound than normal anyway. Hard to explain that to people who won't know what that means, but here's an example. So if you get a really just straightforward tone, ooh, it's a really simple sound. There's no real color to it. Compare that to E. As I'm moving towards an E sound, we're getting more and more strong frequencies, strong higher harmonics on the sound, changing it and changing how you hear it from an ooh to an E. Okay, so it has this brighter sound to it. When you play on the bridge with for a violin, or close to the bridge for a violin, you get many more of those higher frequencies coming through, to the extent that it can sound quite abrasive, and much more like a string, as opposed to just this solid note that you get normally from bowing it around the middle of this area on a violin. So I think that's what's happening with the slide down the fingerboard, and that produces this really cool sound. To be honest though, it could just be a pick scrape on a guitar. Let's hear it. Two more. And it suddenly crescendos into that smash as we get into this. What is this new section? So this is a little bit like the chorus in that we've got these longer held notes, but we don't have any vocals. We've got a held sort of pedal. This C minor is really going on. Oh well, it doesn't even really feel like C minor. That's the one. But the chord is changing above, which is really cool. So this kind of thing happening. So you get the bow being held at the bottom while the chord changes over the top. So we're getting that constant reframing of that low note, whether it's comfortable or whether it's abrasive. We've got a few things going on in this sort of atmosphere. Why not? Let's have another listen. we've got these slides from the violin. Quite a few violin lines here. So we've got a low one. We've got one up on a top C, which is doing a kind of tremolo playing back and forth with the bow, not a long held note. So it's full of sort of energy and frenetic scaredness, maybe. You know what, I don't think we do actually have that pedal. I think things are moving overall. But there's two, that's being held. Oh yeah, no, okay. Okay, we do have it, but it's in the higher parts. That's fun. Yeah, so between those chords, this C is here. This is what we would call an inverted pedal. So we get that, but we get ooh, doo, doo, doo. So it's moving slightly right at the end of each second chord move, but it's pretty much keeping that C going otherwise, which is an inverted pedal, quite a rare thing really, whereas the chords, yeah, do feel, I've gone so out of tune. That's the folk way. The chords do feel appropriate, or for the style, by the way. We've had very few chords. We've had 4 chords overall. They've been the minor 1, the major 7 or flat 7, the major 6 or flat 6, and the minor 4. So everything's in the same key. These are all some of the most common chords you would get. Staying away from the 5 so far, which is also, I think, sensible. The 5 can be more associated with sort of classical music. If it were going to occur, it would probably be a minor 5. So there's the minor 4, and there's the minor 5. Because if it was the major 5, that's really saying sort of harmonic minor. That's more of a classical tradition thing than a folk thing. Folk is more specifically modal than major or minor. Yeah, I think we've got 2 lines doing that pedal, actually in 2 different octaves. Interesting how the guitar is still there, but it's much less clear than the rest of the things. One of the benefits of this album, in comparison to a lot of music, I think, is that clarity is not really an important feature. We've got lots of things. Sometimes they're very, very clear, and that's generally to do with the sparseness of the acoustic. But the producer, whoever that may be, why not, let's have a look. Have we got the credit? Okay. Yeah, oh right, it's Jim Ghedi who's done it. Oh, is it? Music publisher. Oh, okay. Hang on, what? Copyright control, music publisher, David Glover, producer mixer. Okay, I'm assuming it's David Glover then, and Jim Ghedi is the composer, lyricist, producer and main artist. That would make sense. So they both got producing credits, I guess. So they're both working on this thing, not intending to make things pristine and taking a long time in the studio to make things really, really clear, but they're more concerned with the atmosphere at large, at the whole thing, and how things blend together and make very powerful concoctions in that respect. Something that's quite different to, say, pop production, or the Daft Punk style of incredibly crisp, clear instrumental production. It's very, very different, and it's much more focused on the emotion of the listener than the technicality of what frequencies are coming through. And I think that's great, and I think that's super appropriate for this style. Okay, so this feels like neither the chorus nor the verse, but we've got some new vocals. So this is really connected to the previous section that we've just heard, that instrumental section where everything's on, you know, really loud. And now we've just added some more to it with harmony vocals nonetheless. Na na up on the G for the main vocal, but also na na below it. So both of those. In fact, I think there are two extra vocals from time to time, because that one, yeah, the main vocal was around and we got a hum underneath, and we got a hum over the top, so filling out the whole triad. Lovely stuff. So the production does occasionally get to a point where it's slightly ugly, which I also like, but there's maybe just a little too much prominence of the kick drum, a little bit, so we get that boom, and then when we get that kick drum on the first beat, everything comes a little quieter in a similar way to the sidechain compression you get in dance music, but without the I don't know, constant acid trip that is. This feels more like some overstepping of a comfort boundary, maybe. So similar to the chorus in that we've got these long notes with a little bit of a flurry of movement at the beginning. So we get the da 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 ma, right? Da, 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 da. So we get quite a few notes quickly at the beginning, and then our longer held note. Isn't it nice as well how, because we've got that long note and it fades, and then there's no more long note at the end of the bar, that's when those violins get space to come through. With just as we lead into the next bar. That's really powerful stuff, and it's not exactly counterpoint, but it works in a contrapuntal fashion, because even though they're playing at the same time, they're much more in the background when the vocals are there, and then they come to the fore afterwards. Also worth noting that the drums are really doing some smashing here. Unexpected end on the 7 chord. You shall remain. You know, the common thing, boring thing would be to you shall remain and end on the 1. But here it stops in mid-flow, and you're reminded of the stops that we had before. Da, da, da. But we didn't get one of those this time. It just stops in mid-flow, leaving quite a big acoustic with a lot of drum cymbal noise leading on into the atmosphere. Lovely. I mean, I've spent a long time talking about that. If we go through like a checklist of things, categories to make a good song, which the one that the GCSE students are being taught these days is Mad T-shirt. But I did work out that was an anagram of something way better, but I can't actually remember what that is now, which is a shame. Yeah. No, it's not coming to me. I'll work it out another time. But anyway, those are the categories. M, melody. Okay, melody was kind of interesting. Quite an unusual approach in having the falsetto part and the belted part. So in those verses we got a really unusual juxtaposition between those two. One was slow and one was fast as well. So that was really cool. In the chorus and in the terminal climax there, slightly more straightforward relationship to melody. So not that much to say about those bits, but the verse certainly held its own. Then we have articulation. So there's quite a few things that are interesting there. We've got pizzicato in the strings. We've got very different approaches in the drums. Sometimes with long held cymbal stuff, and sometimes it's more focused on very short percussive things. Maybe that's not specifically articulation, but I think also we get much softer playing and much louder playing, which is the next thing, is dynamics. On the vocal side, the articulation is interesting, having the long held notes and then the flurries of movement, sort of arrhythmic flurries of movement as well, not specifically locked into the feel 1, 2, 3 kind of feel, but da 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 da, that kind of thing. And also the emphasizing the end of the diphthongs, what are the words? I can't remember. Heel or feel, squiggle, emphasizing that last part of the diphthong rather than the first part. That's cool, interesting articulation. Yeah, dynamics, we got a lot of varied dynamics, even within sections, with the soft very different, and the full-bodied stuff when we got lots of instruments in, really powerful, loud, held dynamics there, with sudden stops as well, so really fun stuff on the dynamic front. Then we get to T, and T can be either tempo or texture or timbre, texture and timbre. We've got some interesting timbres, the guitar with its low strings and its sort of sympathetic resonances, sounding very full and a little bit clattery with that low string especially. So yeah, full and yeah, slightly more sort of homespun sound than a guitar you would get in a professional studio, I suppose. Yeah, with mimicking of the melody as well between the guitar and the vocals, and between the guitar and the violin. So that's fun. The violin layers, thick layers, making the texture in the end there very thick. That's really fun. And in the chorus too. And we play a lot with texture. The verses were much more sparse. The drums played a big role in that as well. Then we get the S, which is structure, and the structure is pretty straightforward really. We get a verse which has kind of two parts to it, a chorus, then we got an instrumental version of the first part of the verse, and then we got a full another verse and a full another chorus, and then we go into our terminal climax, our sort of coda section, new material, starting with an instrumental, then adding vocals later, but the same material going for that whole second half of the song. So that's our structure. If you want to think of it on a macro scale, we've got like an A B A B C, A B A B C, or AAC. Sorry, AAB if you like. Yeah, so that's structure. H, harmonies, very straightforward, 4 chords in the whole of the song. We rarely use, in fact we never use more than 3 at a time in a section. A lot of coming back to the C as the sort of root, and a lot of use of the pedal. The pedal C just or up there as well. So a lot of use of that, rooting everything in that minor modality. Cool. Yeah, let's keep going. We've got the other ones. Instrumentation kept pretty much the same throughout the song. Drums, guitar, violin, vocals. There were a few unexpected things in the later half though, as more violins came in and then more vocals came in, so it thickened the texture past what we thought we even had, which is a really lovely studio trick. You know, it just makes everything suddenly open into a new world. It's really powerful stuff. Lovely. And then we have Rhythm. We didn't talk too much about rhythm, but we've got this swing, very lazy rhythm. And yeah, we had that unusual meter moment, didn't we, where we added in an extra beat in the verses. That's fun. And we occasionally got triplets from the drums, just giving us a fill or whatever in a triplet feel. So overall, our time signature here would be a 9/8 time signature with a 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, occasionally going to 12/8 for that extra beat. Lovely. Anything else to say? I don't know. The rhythm never really changes. We sometimes have spaces at the beginning, so it feels open, but might well still be going in that rhythm. I'm not going back to check. And then the last thing, T, is going to be to do with tempo, I suppose. Yeah, so really the main thing about tempo is that it's relatively slow. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. So there's nothing that's really driving us fast in this song, and it feels very expansive and spacey. Who cares about tempo? Not me. If we wanted to talk about timbre as well, we would probably do it with the texture stuff, but the violins feel pretty yearning in their very resonant area, but we had occasional moments of that sul ponticello sound, didn't we, on the bridge sound. The guitar, on the other hand, very plinky and plonky, and yeah, with those bow notes not quite sitting on the note straight away. Fun. And the drums, the drums are relatively like soft and clear most of the time, but those kick drums do have a way of smashing through everything. And the voice is really the heart of this, isn't it? The timbre of the voice, quite an unusual one, with two different main styles. The very soft falsetto, and the really sort of overripe, slightly caught main vocal sound. Everything just behind a bit of a wall. Not quite that much, but that's the kind of thing. It's not letting everything out, rah, 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 is it? It's slightly tighter than that. Waffle, 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 waffle. That's a song. You know what? I'm actually going to leave it at just the one song today, because we've basically done an hour. We've got 4 more songs to think about next time before Schiefenfeld, where I'll cut it off because we've already done that one, and 4 more songs after that. So this is going to be the first 4-parter. Trying to keep up with that. Lovely. Yeah, I mean, I really like it. Oh no, not Screen, we want that one. I really like it. I really like Jim Ghedi. I've not come across Jim Ghedi before, but it seems like he's been doing things for a while, and I hope he continues to do things for a while. I hope he releases even more fantastic music. I'll have to go back and have a look at the other music to see if it's even more fantastic as well, I suppose. A Merry Christmas. Yeah, this is probably not what you're actually looking for at Christmas, but I hope you enjoy it at some point. Go and try this album. It's probably my favourite of the year. Yeah, just fills me with like really, a lot of yearning for many different things. Have a lovely day and Christmas. Rest of, there's like 10 days left of it. Enjoy it if you can, and the rest of your life should also be good. Bye.